2nd and 11. Jackson with a stiff arm into the outside and then bowls over Isaac Smith. With a stiff arm into the outside and then bowls over Isaac Smith.
Hello and welcome to the Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined as always by the Bud Man, Buddy Sanji. You saw right there in the intro, the K-Train, as the Bud Man has so graciously nicknamed Caleb Jackson, with a huge run in this Saturday's game versus Mississippi State. LSU gets the big win, 41-14, going 1-0 in the SEC. A lot of teams in the SEC struggled with opponents this weekend. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, co-SEC Offensive Players of the Week for their dominant performance. Certainly have a lot to get into, including we'll hear from Coach Brian Kelly later on in this program. So we'll welcome in the Bud Man right now. Great to see you on a Tuesday afternoon, Bud Man.
Good to see you. Look, for those of you who saw us on the replay with the sunglasses, I think some people thought we were trying to be cool like Prime Time, Coach Prime. But when LSU lays an egg and stinks one up like they did against Florida State, we wear the sunglasses. Now, how many times we will wear them on this show this year is certainly not predictable at this point. But, JP, good weekend.
Yep.
Trifecta. Doesn't happen that often. Southern, LSU, and the Saints all win last night on Monday Night Football. I thought I was going back 30 years watching the Saints. I thought watching paint dry was more exciting. Derek Carr, you're holding the ball too long. Come on, man. We have a problem with that in Baton Rouge with Jaden Daniels. That being said, he made a couple of big throws. They finally utilized Taysom Hill to a benefit, and that defense is nasty. They gave up the first touchdown late in the game. They're 2-0, LSU 2-1. Jags are trying to call back and being at 1-2. But, JP, crazy with college football. Colorado and Colorado State, a massive audience, over 9 million on a late-night game. Producer Don stayed up to watch. I go to church on Sunday morning. I watch the first half. And, of course, the kid that took the nasty shot at Travis Hunter is getting death threats on social media. That being said, it is wide open in college football. I have not seen a consistently great team. Texas at 3, Florida State at 4, Michigan, of course, gets Jim Harbaugh back this week. But I think you're going to see a team that is the best looking each Saturday, and this could be a crapshoot this year. I guess what I'm saying is it's up for grabs, and if LSU can continue to get better, they got a chance to win the West, because the decline in Alabama looks real. And we'll find out this weekend when they host Ole Miss at 2:30.
That's right. Georgia also looked vulnerable this past weekend. LSU certainly handled business, I should say. 11 a.m. kickoff. Coach Brian Kelly wanted the team to think differently about the opportunity to go into Starkville, be the first game out the gate, be back on the plane, back in Baton Rouge, first team back home. Stopped. They had an hour trip from the hotel to the stadium, so they stopped at the car dealership to get warmed up, stretch, go through situational substitutions, and wanted the team to be engaged, start fast, control their emotions, and play for 4 quarters. There were a lot of questions. Could LSU stop the run? Even Grambling was able to have a 100-yard rusher against LSU. We're missing a few guys. Greg Brooks goes out with a medical emergency before the game. Still not a lot of information about Greg Brooks out there. Coach Brian Kelly said he would update the media as soon as he got something else to pass along. He was unavailable. Omar Spates unavailable. Ovi Ogofu unavailable. So a lot of young true freshmen had to play, namely Whit Weeks in the middle. I was impressed, but man, a very athletic true freshman, number 33, was across the field, led the team in tackles, had 8 total. And so you got a lot of young guys got playing time, Bud Man. Jaden Daniels, 425 total yards offense, threw the ball all over the field. Malik Neighbors had a great breakout game. Welcome back to the main stage, Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, Whit Weeks made everybody who wore the number 40 last year proud. Of course, Harold Perkins wore it last year. Whit was a surprise starter. We heard that Omar Spates would not go. Greg Penn is going to be in the middle. Finally, I think they got a little comfort zone with Harold Perkins. Malik Neighbors, JP, all the years I've been following LSU, I never have remembered 13 targets and 13 receptions. This is a kid that was committed to Mississippi State and made a decision on signing day to flip to LSU, of course, one of those Louisiana wide receivers. A lot of talk about who he reminds you of. When you see Neighbors in the bulk, now he's up to 200. Look, I don't know if he'll have the female problems off the air like Jamar Chase is having right now. And I don't know if he'll be a first-round draft choice. But he reminds me a little bit of Jamar Chase. Who else do you does he remind you of?
Yeah, certainly Jamar Chase is a good one. Terrence Tolliver, when he was at LSU, was also a very big, physical, strong receiver that can go. He doesn't get pushed off of his mark, as Coach Brian Kelly, you'll hear him talk about in the press conference, but physical, high points to football, gives his quarterback a chance to throw the ball down the court. He's not pushed into the sideline, gives his quarterback an opportunity. Jamar Chase is a good one. Great ball skills, very good high point. You always say the 50-50 ball doesn't really seem like 50-50 to Malik Neighbors. You've been high on Neighbors since he was a freshman. Certainly had a great season last year, was I think second in the SEC.
But only 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's already got 3 this year. I said he would triple that and have 9. But Arkansas's got to double him. So now this week, Brian Thomas Jr. and other guys have to step up. Oh, by the way, Logan Diggs, I think most people feel like he has the best vision. He falls forward. He just doesn't lose many yards. Josh Williams, very dependable. Those 2 guys pick up the blitz.
Yeah.
And that's what Caleb Jackson can't do right now. But, man, oh, man, you saw in the opening, big, physical, powerful, explosive back, still wet behind the ears. But, look, we were throwing around nicknames. I just came up with the K-Train. I'm sure there'll be other better ones. But it's nice to see. Now, Frank's got a problem. All those running backs, who do you play?
Right.
And obviously, you want to put everybody in their best scenario. But defense, glad to see the defense look more like the LSU defense. And it was so quiet that Denver Harris was out on one of the corners and you hardly heard his name because they didn't complete a lot of balls, only had 201 yards, and about 55 or 60 was on the one run from Mark. A's, high marks, A's are across the board. Now you got to roast some suey pig. You ever do the rotating pig at the tailgate before? You ever cooked that?
I've never cooked that. I've had the whole pig rotisserie style, but what do they call that? There's a special name for it when it's the whole pig.
Well, look,
Delicious.
I'll tell you this. It's like a lot of things in Louisiana. They might not know exactly what to call it, but it tastes good.
That's right.
And, of course, LSU, a big, fat 18, 19-point favorite in that game. Look, a couple games this weekend that you want to be cognizant of. Obviously, Florida State at Clemson at 11 in the morning. Florida State's got to prove that they can consistently be a top 5 team. Then you talk about the games at 2:30. Primetime in Colorado at Oregon at 2:30. Ole Miss at Bama at 2:30. Of course, LSU hosting Arkansas at 6.
We're going to take a quick break here on Tigers Roar. We'll come back, show you some highlights from this past Saturday, LSU's big victory over the Bulldogs, 41-14. We'll also have a message from Coach Brian Kelly, his press conference from yesterday, Monday, as we tape here September 19th on a Tuesday here in Baton Rouge. Don't go away. You don't want to miss it. You are watching Tigers Roar.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Very few vehicles develop a community of ownership like the Mazda Miata. But why? Well, maybe it's because Mazda's been building the Roadster for over 25 years and there's never been a bad one. Or maybe it's because the Mazda Miata's been universally praised since its inception as one of the most fun cars to drive for the money. If you're looking for fun, affordability, and reliability, come see our Mazda Miata selection today and experience for yourself why Miata is always the answer. At Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. Don't forget, if you missed any of the first segment or any other Tigers Roars in the past, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. A great way to keep up with everything we do at the Pelican. All the Tigers Roars are archived for your viewing pleasure. So go check it out, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. While you're there, click the like button, click subscribe, and click the notification button so you get notified every time we post something new right there on the YouTube page. Talking some LSU football. 41-14 was the final score. Jaden Daniels had his team up 41-7 early in the fourth quarter when he finally relinquished the reins over to Garrett Nussmeier. Bud, man, offense was clicking early. 7 out of the first 8 drives resulted in scores. As a team, LSU rushed for over 4 yards a carry. Jaden Daniels, 425 yards total offense. Him and Malik Neighbors, co-offensive SEC Player of the Week. Great way to bounce back after that week 1 to Florida State. You get embarrassed in the second half. You come back, you play Grambling, not much of a litmus test. There's nothing but negative that could possibly come out of that situation. You come back, 11 a.m. kickoff in Starkville, cowbells are rolling, and you start fast. But, man, Brian Kelly has to be happy with the effort from his team in Starkville.
You eat the pregame meal about 7:15, and then they had a bus ride. Brian Kelly, attention to detail similar to Nick Saban. They've got every I dotted and every T crossed. Had the guys get out after about 30 minutes and walk around and kind of get loosened up. They were ready to go. Jaden Daniels completed his first 13 passes. I'm going to give JD a lot of credit, but I'm also going to give Mike Denbrock a lot of credit.
Yep.
This is what we saw in the fall scrimmages. Dink and dunk. You don't want him to go back and go through his progression of reads because he doesn't do that well. Mm-hmm. And if you give him something quick to throw, a slant, a swing, love throwing to the backs out the backfield, love throwing it quick. I do caution that if he keeps leading LSU with rushing attempts and these scripted runaround ends, whether it's right in or left in, look, Coach D, you've been doing this a long time. You make a lot of money, millions of dollars every year. We don't need to see Jaden Daniels put his body in harm's way to pick up a measly 2 or 3 yards. Yep. So I got to say, kudos to Denbrock, but scratch that. Also, as we know, the offensive line, their grades have not been as good as we thought they would be. Lance Hurd made me look like a fool. He wasn't ready. Yep. They let him be the bartender, and guess what? He had one drink served to about 30 patrons. If you don't understand the analogy, folks, he wasn't ready. And he had a rough game. Mac Markway had to play for Mason Taylor, and he missed a bunch of blocks. So all that being said, Whitweek shooting the gap. Greg Penn, much better. Harold Perkins looked like his nose self. Mason Smith didn't have a lot of stats, but was commanding double teams. And, of course, as we know, Mekhi Wingo with a sack. LSU finally, 4 sacks. And now for the year, LSU has 5 sacks and has given up 7 on the offensive end. But this was a great step. And isn't it amazing the difference in the perception that everybody has about LSU and teams on a weekly basis from one week to the other? You just hope that A, they stay healthy, and B, they get better each week, and obviously C, you get the W. B, sunglasses the next couple of shows if they don't take care of business against Arkansas. Ole Miss and Bama. We're going to find out if Bama's really in a decline and whether Ole Miss can play defense for 4 quarters to win on the road. You remember the last time what happened with Lane Kiffin going to Ole Miss 2 years ago. You remember what he said right before the game? Pop your popcorn,
get your popcorn
and
ready.
he got
Get your
popped
popcorn
and
ready.
embarrassed. So somebody needs to put an apple in Lane Kiffin's mouth before the game. That all being said, Colorado and Colorado State, the talk of the country. And it is amazing what Coach Prime has done. But look, college football, this is going to be an interesting year, and I think this is going to be the year of the upset. I really do.
We do have some highlights from this past Saturday. LSU in Starkville against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. We'll ask AT the truck to go ahead and roll those highlights, and we'll continue the conversation talking some LSU football. But, man, it was important for LSU to establish the line, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And right there, you see Whitweek shooting the gap. Great tackle right there. A good start for the defense, and LSU was rolling on offense right from the start.
No doubt about it. Here, now this is what I'm talking about, a safety valve. And a lot of times, here's your safety valve to Logan Diggs, and you get it off to him, and Logan's excellent. Throw the football to the backs out the backfield. Have the safety valve. Hopefully Mason Taylor will be back this week.
Logan Diggs did have 3 catches for 30 yards, also rushed the ball 9 times for 41 yards. But you mentioned it earlier. His ability to pass pro on 3rd down is why he continues to stay on the field.
And once again, here's a little reverse. And look, as we know, you're picking up the 1st down, and it just looked like LSU was in control from the get-go. And because the center didn't snap it, they had to settle for a field goal.
That's right. They called false start on everybody on the line except for the center. Malik Neighbors, 13 receptions, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns. You mentioned the 13 in a row for Jaden Daniels. The first incompletion was when he threw the ball away on purpose. So a great start for Jaden Daniels. There you see Stavion Jones getting a sack.
First sack of the year for Stavion Jones.
His best game of the year, too.
No doubt about it. Once again, here's Malik Neighbors. And I could not believe after he had 10 catches in the first half, they didn't even start to double him. So I'm not real sold on Zach Arnett being a great coach.
That's a great point, Bob, man. Here you go. Going deep again to that man, number 8. Great throw, great catch, great body control, but really, you only give yourself an opportunity if you take the chance and throw it downfield. LSU talked all offseason about how they worked on Jaden Daniels being more comfortable throwing the ball down the field. Now you see him taking a shot and it paying off.
Beautiful window that he fitted in here. Here's another one. Once again, these fades and single coverage, and Malik Neighbors is going to tear you up, but JD really threw the ball well, and you could tell he felt it. Those two have a special relationship. Once again, be shocked if Arkansas doesn't chip him and have somebody over the top to double Malik this weekend.
Yeah, you got to throw Malik Neighbors off in his route. This is a great tackle by Harold Perkins. I thought he was most comfortable in this game. He's talking a little smack after the game. You'll hear Coach Brian Kelly say he wants to get to that happy medium where Harold Perkins is playing with that energy, but not so energetic, so much flying around that he get penalties. But Mekhi Wingo on a big sack. He's played
his
well.
First sack of the year.
Big number 18 for LSU Tigers. Here's Jaden Daniels winding up again, going deep. You'll take a guess who it is. That's right, Malik Neighbors once again get it down to about the 15-yard line.
And look, some of those windows, of course, that one was better there. And as we know, they finally get it in here on a short yardage plunge. But look, it was fun to watch on offense and defense this first half.
10 different receivers would catch a pass from Jaden Daniels.
And there's the blitz, JP.
From Harold Perkins. Too much speed around the outside, Bud, man. And when he doesn't get there, he still affected Will Rogers all game. You saw him out of the peripheral. Will Rogers, one of the more accurate passes in the SEC, absolutely struggled the entire first half. Mississippi State had 7 total yards in their first 3 possessions.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They finally got into the end zone. LSU goes back, and once again, Jaden did stay in the pocket a little bit better and deliver some football. I think that's Brian Thomas Jr. on the catch defense right there. And look, you get Mason Taylor back and all those weapons. And Damian Ramos has been very solid to start this season, JP.
But, man, you mentioned Mac Markway earlier, and he did have to play instead of Mason Taylor. Very athletic for a young kid, but definitely still wet behind the ears. Has to learn his assignment, especially in the pass pro, or when he has to be, one of the big uglies up attached to the line. But
there's Major Burns with his first sack of the year.
Yeah.
Everybody getting their first sacks because they only had one going in here. He's holding the ball here long, and once again, when you get out in space, look at the yards that he picks up very quickly. I disagreed with this call. I did not think that was targeting, but they've got to minimize the hits that he takes this year.
Jaden Daniels had 15 rushes for a net of 64 yards and did have 2 rushing touchdowns. There you see the first one, but you saw him get blown up again. It seems every game this season, Jaden Daniels is putting himself in a line of punishment when he doesn't have to by leaving his feet at the point of contact.
Here's the run, the K-Train bulling over. He relaxed, and all of a sudden their linebacker cleans it up. But a very similar play that Leonard Fournette, he even tweeted out during the game, and it brought back a lot of good memories with Fournette.
Yeah, click, click, boom goes the K-Train. Another deep shot right here. Malik Neighbors once again comes down with it all the way down to the 1-yard line, and LSU will punch it in.
Daniels pulls.
With Jaden Daniels. And see, he's open right there to take a big shot, and so they're going to have to get their short yardage a little bit better. But look, JD, as we know, both Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, co-SEC Offensive Players of the Week.
Take another quick break. We'll come back from here from head coach Brian Kelly. Held the press conference yesterday, Monday, September 18th, as we tape here on a Tuesday. We're at Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Still a great place to come on the weekend. It's going to have live bands, some food from the open kitchen. So come check out Old School Barbecue this weekend, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Quick break. Come back with more Tigers Roar. You don't want to miss it. He's the Bud Man. I'm JP. We thank you for watching here on Tigers Roar.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Get huge savings all summer long with the Buy Here, Sell Here program at the Team Automotive Group. Sell your vehicle to us and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Get Team VIP service at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements. And that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Get yourself summer ready with the award-winning lineup of Hondas at Team Honda. We'll help you find just the right vehicle to hit the road to whatever destination awaits you. Come shop the most awarded brand in Car and Driver's 10 Best history at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Seagan Lane.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Treads and Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads and Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads and Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads and Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. Jonathan Poche joined by the Bud man, Buddy Sanji, talking some LSU football. 41-14 was the final score this past Saturday. LSU went into Starkville, beat up the Bulldogs pretty good. Jaden Daniels, 30 for 34, 425 total offense, Bud man. It was clicking for an offense and defense. Held the Bulldogs to 14 points. It was a trash time touchdown in the end. 41-7 should have been the final. What more could you have asked for Coach Brian Kelly's team to show you they're ready for this rest of this SEC schedule?
Folks, this is 88% completion percentage. Anything over 25 attempts, that is a record. Is he going to continue at that percentage? Obviously not, but it was good to see on all cylinders. Still some special team quirks. I didn't think they did a great job with kickoffs. I after watching their kickoff return defense, I think that they need to kick it into the end zone on every possession. And as we know, punter's not had a great year so far. But look, he's a holder, he's a leader, and you made the progression. And here's what Coach Kelly had to say. In a good position because you hadn't had a lot of injuries. Now, Greg Brooks, personal situation, medical situation, and I don't expect him back anytime soon, if at all, this season.
Yeah. Well, here he is. Here is head coach Brian Kelly, his press conference this past Monday, talking with Mississippi State and looking forward to LSU's upcoming contest against Arkansas and Coach Sam Pittman. Here is head coach Brian Kelly.
All right, good afternoon. We'll begin with a recap from this past weekend. Going on the road, playing an 11 a.m. game requires for our team to think the right way. I thought that they did a great job of thinking right about the trip itself. It's easy to think about how difficult and how early, and instead they thought about it as, a great opportunity to be the first game up, to go on the road and play 4 quarters with the competitive edge that they've been looking for in terms of playing for 4 quarters. There's always that sense of playing early and getting back home. So I thought they did a great job of, thinking the right way. And then, you have to flip that switch from, preparation to performance. And to do that, you've got to play with a sense of urgency and you've got to have the emotional control, but play with an edge. And they got off to a fast start, played with great effort and enthusiasm. There was really an attention to the details out there and, finished strong. So that's what we're looking for from our football team. That's an identity that we want to create each and every week, and certainly one that we believe that we can be. Now it's about building on that and looking for that consistency. There were obviously some great performances, as highlighted by Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors being named the SEC Co-Offensive Players of the Week. The play of the two of them, was certainly elite. Daniels, 425 yards of total offense. You know the numbers. But I think if you really look at it closely, some of the things that maybe don't get the attention was his presence in the pocket and how many times he got hit after delivering, a great throw. Sometimes we cut it off and see the ball in the air, but you don't see the play all the way through. And made some great throws under duress. Those are NFL throws. Some of the ones that he made, not backing down, staying in the pocket, knowing that he was going to get hit and still delivering the ball with great accuracy. And Neighbors, obviously, his ability to handle any coverage variations. And look, the things that that sometimes don't get talked about. He maintains space on the field. He carves out an opportunity to catch the ball. Many times we see defenders squeeze out offensive players. Malik is strong and physical as well, and he can hold his line and give the quarterback an opportunity. So hats off to both of those guys. Great work, and look to do the same. I don't know that there's any reason why they can't continue to play at that level. Obviously, defensively holding Mississippi State to 7 total yards on their first 3 possessions. I thought defensively coming together, allowing just under 100 yards rushing in the SEC in terms of anything that you do is a job well done. Third down, we were really efficient. We got off the field. And again, harassed the quarterback. Got the quarterback down, had sacks, did the things that you need to do in the SEC. You've got to play that kind of defense. So, all in all, a great performance on the road, and now something that we need to certainly build on moving forward. Get a chance now to play another SEC opponent in Arkansas. I think we all know about this game. It is a hard-fought, physical game. Each and every year, I think the last 3 years have been decided by a total of something like 9 points, I think. It's a rivalry trophy, battle for the boot, annual trophy between the two schools that started back in the mid-'90s. So I know our guys understand who they're playing and the tough games that we've had with them, including last year. So they'll be prepared for that. Now it's about preparing the right way again this week, and then, playing with that competitive edge. So looking forward to that. They've got some really good players. Sam Pittman does a great job. I have a ton of respect for Sam, and he'll have his team ready to play. Bouncing back after last week's loss, he'll have his team ready to go, and we'll have to respond in kind. KJ Jefferson, the quarterback, 3-year starter. I think we all know about his size and strength. He can run the football. Raheem Sanders, A.J. Green, 2 outstanding backs. Armstrong. And the defense, although a new defensive coordinator, outstanding coordinator coming from UCF. He's had great success, great pedigree in the SEC. Was with Kevin Steele at Auburn. So we know we've got our hands full. So certainly looking forward to being in Tiger Stadium this Saturday. We're going to take advantage of being there because we won't be back for a little bit. So we'll talk about that and make sure our guys relish the opportunity of playing at home. We had a couple of guys that did not play. I'll talk about them briefly. First of all, Omar Spates had that what we felt like was a lower body injury. I would list him now as probable. Ovia Gufu, the same thing, lower body injury. I'd list him as probable. Same thing with Mason Taylor. All of those will be probable. Greg Brooks is out. I don't have a lot that I can report on Greg. It is a family matter, so I am not going to speak on the family's behalf. If there's anything that I can get to you further after I speak with the family, we'll certainly give you information. But Greg is dealing with a medical emergency, and he will not be available. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Coach, is it right up here, just to your left? Is it Greg's medical emergency? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Greg has a medical emergency.
Just the defense that you rolled out there, had one of the best showings of the year. Obviously, it had a lot of new faces. Was that the best 11 that you could put out there, or was it the best 11 at the time? Did you feel really good about it in retrospect?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we had a lot of confidence that, Braden Swinson would be able to go in there and play at a high level. He had during the year, Whit Weeks, we knew what we had. We had a young player, certainly a true freshman, but he can run all over the field. He's extremely athletic. I think you get a little concerned when you play a lot of true freshmen. Certainly in the back end of your defense. Ryan Yates came in and played really well. He was clean. He was disciplined in his alignments. He was assignment correct. But, you got 3 true freshmen on the field. On the road in the SEC, I don't think you're running around going, oh, this is great. But we had confidence in them that they could go out and play well. I think what it shows more than anything else, and Coach and I were talking about this, Coach House, is that we have more than 11, and we need to play them more. It's kind of like what we talked about the week before with Guillory and certainly Jefferson at the tackle position. They didn't play enough the week before, where they played much more, and you can see how that helps our rotation at the defensive line. I think you'll see now that we can play a lot more at the linebacker position and the safety position.
With that, Coach, right over here, you mentioned Spates being probable for this week. How, in your experience, have you handled having a young guy like Weeks with Spates having so much experience and just handling kind of that role going forward with those guys and having, obviously, playable depth?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the guy that's really settled this for us in terms of, whoever he's been with has been Greg Penn. Greg's been outstanding. He's a settling factor out there for us. He gets guys lined up. He communicates very well. And that's a guy that we want to keep on the field. So, we'll be moving guys around to complement that. And I think, the best rotation keeps Greg on the field, and then we'll move guys in and out with him.
And that was part 1 of head coach Brian Kelly's press conference. We'll give you part 2 in the next segment of Tigers Roar. We'll get to a quick break. You heard Coach talking about Greg Penn and how he's certainly a settling presence for the defense, lining up people where they're supposed to line up. Doesn't really matter who they rotate into the other linebacker spot, because now Coach Brian Kelly knows it's deeper than 11 guys. So lots of talent on the defense side of the ball. Still trying to figure out pieces and parts. You heard Coach talk about all the transfers and the true freshmen playing. So still some to figure out, but Coach Brian Kelly certainly likes where his group is going thus far. Another quick break. We'll come back. You'll hear more from Coach Brian Kelly. He's asked a very interesting question about his quarterback. You don't want to miss it. He's the Bud Man. I'm Jonathan Poche, and you are watching Tigers Roar.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. Certainly appreciate you tuning into this episode. If you missed anything in this episode or any episodes in the past, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. It is a great way to keep up with everything we do here at the Pelican. All the Tigers Roars, the Clarence Bug shows, anything we do at the Pelican is archived right there for your viewing pleasure. So go check it out. Overtime with Athletic.
Do you ever think about over the last year and a half where you would be with?
We have a little B-roll going in the background. AT in the truck by himself, doing a great job. We certainly appreciate him back there. But, man, LSU 41 points coming off of a 72-point outing against Grambling. A lot of points being scored by that offense. Going against Arkansas at home for the first time. It's going to be 2 weeks where they get back to Death Valley, but going against Arkansas, Sam Pittman, a very aggressive defense, KJ Jefferson at quarterback, strong, physical, got talented running backs and talent on the outside. How much of a test will this be for LSU?
Well, look, they tackled appreciably better. That was one of the things that they really did poorly against Florida State and Grambling. And as we know, that offense is going to score a lot of points. Hoping to get Mason Taylor back. Once again, a lot of running backs. And you know they're going to double Malik Neighbors, so this could be a game for Brian Thomas Jr., other wide receivers.
Brian Kelly was asked a very interesting question. I believe it was Ed Daniels from WGNO in New Orleans about did Brian Kelly ever think about where this team would be without Jaden Daniels? But, man, I'll ask you the same question. Could you imagine if the Arizona State quarterback did not transfer to LSU, we had to stick with what we had in the cupboard, which would have been Garrett Nussmeier, what would LSU look like today if no Jaden Daniels?
Well, I think they probably would have had to get another quarterback in the transfer portal. But look, whether you like him or not, I got some people that are hell-bent. They're not going to think that he can change. He's getting better. We saw it last night with Derek Carr. Get rid of the football, but he was on that. That's as good as I've seen him throw the football in his LSU career. But where would they be? Certainly wouldn't be in the same area code.
Well, here is the second part of the press conference from yesterday, Monday, September 18th, from head coach Brian Kelly here on Tigers Roar.
Do you ever think about over the last year and a half where you would be without Jaden Daniels?
Okay.
Yeah, He's been outstanding. Obviously, we've won a lot of football games, and certainly his ability to win the game with his feet, or in this instance, throwing the football and running the ball. He was as good as anybody in the country, and we've seen a development now that we were in week 3. I think if you look at week 3 last year. And was it the week we threw for 85 yards? I think it was. And now he's throwing for, 30 for 34. So we've seen incredible development at the position. And I think that that's what's more exciting than where would we be without Daniels. It's fun to watch the development of a quarterback in that respect.
Coach Ray. Matthew Bruin with On 3. Mason Smith now through 2 games, just how have you seen him continue to get comfortable and where do you think he's at?
Yeah, I think he's getting there. I mean, we saw some things that he wasn't doing against Grambling that now he's starting to impact the game a little bit more, and I think that'll continue to grow as he continues to play himself in a position where he can play at a high level each and every snap. So, he's physically a presence in there, and we expect him to continue as the season progresses. He's going to be an impact player for us. So feel good about where he's gone over the last couple of weeks, and expect to see more of him as we move forward.
Yeah, Brian, in the middle, sorry. You've gone for it 8 times on 4th down so far this year. It would have been 9 with the first drive on Saturday.
Right.
Does that have anything to do with the clock changes? Have you philosophically changed at all just when you decide to be aggressive and when not to?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've talked about this a little bit before. I think I use a combination of good sense in terms of what the game feels like. We use analytics, so I'm plugged into what the analytics are telling me relative to 4th down. And as you know, most of the analytics are much more aggressive than we are as we watch the game, right? 4th and 2 or 3 used to be considering a field goal inside the 10. Now it's almost 100% go for it. So I think it's a combination of getting a sense and feel for the game and how you feel like you might have control or not control of the game, plus the use of analytics. And then when you have a quarterback that is multidimensional, it really puts a defense in a bind. So I think we have those 3 factors working for us when we get to 4th down calls.
Hey, Coach, right down here. It's 2 years now in a row where you guys have played freshmen early in their careers, and they've largely responded. I'm wondering, just as a whole, though, how does that affect you guys on the recruiting trail? I mean, just over the last couple of weeks, I know you can't go into specifics with this, but just the conversations and stuff that you're talking to with these recruits about just you come here and you develop and you can see the field early and play often with us.
Yeah, look, everybody, I think, is in this recruiting cycle, we're recruiting young men that believe and have confidence in themselves that they can play right away. And certainly there are other factors that they consider now in making decisions on where to go, looking at the depth chart and looking at, well, can this help my, NIL? I mean, there are other factors now involved in that. So what we can tell them, and this is what I tell them all the time, I'm not afraid to play freshmen, but I'm going to play the best players. And if that is a freshman, I'm playing a freshman. If that's a graduate transfer, I'll play a graduate transfer. And I think our track record shows that the best players are going to play. And if you're a freshman and you can handle it mentally and physically, we'll put you on the field.
Brian, speaking of freshmen, of all the great plays you guys had Saturday, the one that got the most attention in replay was Caleb Jackson running over the safety right in front of your bench. I was kind of curious what went through your mind when that play happened. And we see media fans fans, we see a player who's making great individual plays. Do you see the same thing, or you see someone who's still developing and still has a lot to learn, or where are you with him and what he can contribute to the team?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is physicality, explosiveness, but a young man that is still learning how to play this game. Remember now, if you look back on his high school career, he was not a four-year player even in high school. So, he's learning how to play the game every time he steps on the field. And he's terrific to coach. I mean, the great part about it is he doesn't have much baggage. He's learning a lot about the game as we go along. We're talking to him about some of the rules as it relates to kickoff. If the impetus of the ball goes into the end zone and it hits you, you don't have to take it out. These are foreign things to him. So, just teaching him the game and him learning the game is kind of where we're at with him. But it's easy to see the raw physical ability, but there's so much more to that, and that's if you, and I know you did, you watched the game closely, you saw what Diggs and Williams were able to do in third down protections against a very difficult scheme. Caleb's not ready for that. He will get ready for that, but he's just not there yet.
Coach Savion Jones seemed to really impact the game early, pressure on the first drive, sack on the second drive. What are you seeing out of him?
Just moving better. Here's a bigger guy that is starting to come into his size. He put on a lot of weight in the offseason. Good weight, but he's now having to play more football than he's ever played. He's starting to get a sense of how to train and put himself in a position to handle himself with this new role that he has. And I think he's only going to continue to get better. We saw that suddenness. We saw that reaction that we weren't getting earlier in the year. The game's starting to get easier for him again, and I just think he's going to continue to get better.
Over here, yep, Brett Martell with AP. Do you have examples from throughout your coaching career of teams that maybe didn't do as well as expected right out of the gate, but turned out to be quite formidable, that have been instructive to you as you kind of try to figure out what are the remedies for not starting the way you want in a season?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably, give you a number in 32 years of doing this. The specifics I'd have to take some time to think about. But I think that unless your team is ready-made, and I made it pretty clear with 14 transfers and the amount of freshmen that we were going to have to play, that's a red flag. I mean, if you're really looking at it carefully, that's going to require some tweaking. That's going to require for you to really understand that there's going to have to be some movement in terms of changing direction, with your team along the way. We were able to do that, I think, and I think we're finding the formula for this team. But I think that, most teams that I've had, there haven't been as many that are just add water and just go. They all require a little bit of, changing the formula as the season goes along to get the right mix.
And that was head coach Brian Kelly. His last comments were about how his team was not ready-made. Don't just add water and then you have a championship caliber team. Lots of transfers, lots of freshmen, still trying to figure out some pieces and parts, but LSU certainly moving in the right direction as they are now undefeated in the SEC. They're going to host Arkansas before traveling on the road for back-to-back games, Ole Miss and Missouri. Missouri's looking pretty good, Bud, man. So a bunch of litmus tests here for the Tigers coming up shortly. Jaden Daniels keeps playing 30 for 34. They're going to be in good shape. Another quick break here on Tigers Roar. We'll come back, talk some NFL, some New Orleans Saints. You don't want to miss it. This is Tigers Roar.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
If you're in the market for a full-size pickup that's packed with power, fun to drive, and loaded with features, then get ready to make memories driving the new Toyota Tundra. Come see the truck that's made for adventure at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
And we continue here on our last segment of Tigers Roar. Certainly appreciate you tuning in on Pelican Sports TV. If you missed any of this episode, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Time to talk some NFL football, some New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 2-0 for the first time in 10 years. That's right, a whole decade since the Saints have started 2-0. We do have some B-roll from the game. On Monday night, there was a doubleheader. The Saints were the first game in Charlotte to take on the Panthers. And, Bud, man, it was a struggle to watch this game. A lot of ugly football on Monday night.
Hey, I got to say, Mike Thomas is catching everything. Derek Carr holding on to the ball a little bit long. The Saints did not give up a touchdown until late. They had held everybody to field goals. But, look, they're 2-0. It hadn't been pretty. If they get better like LSU did from week 2 to week 3, then they've got a chance. And once again, nothing Taylor with a big turnover and takeaway.
Yeah, Saints defense absolutely legit on every side, level of the ball. Defensive line, secondary, and the linebackers all good. Great catch right here by Michael Thomas, showing you why he was at one time one of the best receivers in the league. Great to have 13 back playing on Sundays, on Mondays in this case.
Chris Olave made a big catch, and of course their punt returner, and you got to like what Shaheed has brought to the team. He is a guy that had a big reception late in the game.
Derek Carr, 21 for 36, 228 yards, no touchdowns, did have the interception. A bigger story, Jamal Williams goes down in the game, leaving the Saints with only one running back. Tony Jones Jr. had to get Taysom Hill involved heavily in this game, and Pete Carmichael called a pretty good game for number 7.
Hey, I got to tell you, that's the fastest I've seen Taysom Hill run in a couple of years, and I think he's lost some weight. Look, folks, when he makes his mind up, they said it on the broadcast, that is a big man, and he is not easy. There's a big forced fumble from the sack. Once again, Bryce Young did not look great last night, but he's still wet behind the ears with NFL experience.
Talk about Taysom Hill, 9 carries for 75 yards. That is an 8.3 yards per carry average. Certainly impressive for number 7. Defense flying all around the ball. Lante Taylor and others on the tackle right here. You saw the sack fumble by Curtis Granderson. Hustle by Brian Brissy, the Saints' first-round pick out of Clemson. Also had a fumble recovery that was taken off the board by a bogus call. They never really even gave detail to it. But great catch right there by Olave. It was defensive PI. The Saints will never get that call. You see the cornerback holding his right arm. Only needs the left hand to corral it. Great catch by Olave. That certainly was a spark for the Saints offense.
I gave my friends a little tidbit. I thought Olave would have more touchdowns. Man, Taysom Hill might be a good fantasy football pickup because he looks like he's in the mix. Don't forget the rookie running back from TCU also has been injured. Kamara coming back after one more game.
Certainly big to get Alvin Kamara back. The offensive line has certainly struggled both in pass pro and opening up holes for the running backs. Cesar Ruiz, Trevor Penning absolutely needs more help, either from a tight end or a running back to help chip that defensive end because he has struggled mightily earlier in this season, Budman.
Hey, we love the trifecta. The Jags find a way to win. LSU with a convincing win. Obviously, the Saints with an ugly win. And we will talk about it again next time. As always, don't worry, be happy. But, man, this football season always is a blur once you start to be in the regular season. Press conferences Monday, Tuesday. Brian Kelly, a teleconference tomorrow. Brian Kelly with the media Thursday. Once again, Tiger fans, Jag fans, Saints fans, let's hope that we can get the same result next weekend.
Yeah, Jeff Duncan, a sports writer from New Orleans, actually tweeted out earlier today that this is the first time in history the Saints, Tulane, and LSU have all won road games in a weekend. So huge weekend football. Coach Eric Dooley at Southern gets their first win of the season, gets off the schneid. Great for Coach Dooley and the Southern Jaguars. Looking to keep that momentum going, and as well as LSU hosting Arkansas this weekend before they go on the road for the next 2 games, Auburn and Missouri. Those will be 2 big tests, but don't overlook Sam Pittman and those Razorbacks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Suey Pig, you're going to be grilling up the Couchon de lait. That's what JP was talking about earlier.
Thank you, bud, man. Remember, if you missed any of this episode of Tigers Work, go check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. They're all archived there for your viewing pleasure, so go check it out while you're at our page. Click the like button, click the subscribe button. Also, click that notifications button so you're notified every time we post something new here on Pelican Sports TV. Certainly appreciate you tuning in. For the Bud Man, I'm JP, and you've been watching Tigers Roar.